Hello, this is Max. I want to talk with you for a moment about grief. Something you've been feeling, I've been feeling, everyone's been feeling since we've gone through this pandemic together. I was speaking with a soldier the other day, and I think you'll find this extremely interesting because, unlike civilian life, after they've had a trauma, let's say they've had a gunfight and someone is killed, they return back to the base, and at some point soon, within that day, they get together in a group, everyone who is there with their leaders, and they talk about it. They talk about the trauma, the crisis, the pain. They grieve together, they hug each other, they cry. And what struck me when I heard this was how we civilians back home don't do this. How we grieve alone, how we move away from each other during times of crisis, and how we have something to learn here, to come together and look after each other during crisis. Just your presence, sitting next to someone who's going through a difficult time, is helpful. One of the reasons we don't do this is we weren't taught. We don't believe our presence matters that much, that we need to be able to say something to take away their pain, to make them feel better. But one of the lessons I want to give you about grief is, no, you don't. You don't need to make them feel better. In fact, don't try. Don't try to make them feel better. Grieving is a process that doesn't feel good, but you have to go through it to come out the other side. And they just want you close to them when this process is happening. So we need to learn this again, or for the first time in our society. I was at a conference not long ago speaking to several hundred people, and I asked them this question. I said, if you've learned CPR at some point in your life, for those of you in Europe, CPR is heart massage, what you do if someone falls over and their heart stops and you press their chest. So we call this CPR. So I said, raise your hand if at some point in your life you've learned CPR. And 75% raised their hand. Very good. Then I said, hands down. Then I said, now, raise your hand if when you were a child or a young adult, you were taught how to deal with your own grief or the grief of others. And no one raised their hand. I believe there were 400 people with their hands down. And I said, do you see the problem? So if someone's heart stops, we know what to do. If someone's heart breaks, we have no idea. We're completely at a loss, uneducated. And we're all carrying around in us, in our chest, unexpressed emotions, unfelt, unreconciled, not dealt with. So we can get better at this. There is a way of learning, and it's actually not so difficult to learn how to process your emotions, both alone and with others, and how to help others that you love when they're going through the most difficult time. This is a project that I'm completely committed to because I think it helps bring back our humanity, which we have lost a little bit over the last few years. Thank you for listening.